This week's sponsor is Hydra's Teeth Instant Flunkies. Did some adventurers just burst into your lair? Did your army of minions get killed off by your latest death machine? Is some demigod trying to steal your fleece? Well, get yourself some Hydra's Teeth and soon you'll have a mindless workforce you've always deserved. Toss a handful of Hydra's Teeth on any soil, and soon you'll have a horde of Myrmidons just waiting for your next order. Won't those adventurers be surprised? You'll be king of your own domain in no time. Remember, that's Hydra's Teeth Instant Flunkies from Culture Smith Incorporated.
Culture Smith Incorporated not responsible for loss of property or life due to Myrmidon confusion or tricky Argonauts.
This is the Misdirected Mark Podcast, a podcast about gaming, game mastering, and entertaining you, our listeners. We are explicit, you have been warned, and I'd like to thank Mike Willard for letting us use his music on our show. Now let's pick up those mics and get on with this thing.
And welcome to the 496th episode of the Misdirected Mark Podcast. Tonight we discuss just-in-time campaign design in your tabletop role-playing games. But first, my name is Jerry.
My name is Phil.
I'm Chris.
And I am very warm tonight.
Yes, you are.
Hey, this is the first time in a little while we've all made it to the table.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Been a hot minute. And we are sitting in Studio 210B.
Because we can't park in your studio.
You can't park at my studio, yeah. My studio is snowed out.
Curse that 77 inches of snow across the region.
Yeah, so just so that if you were watching the TV and you were like, wow, I wonder where the Misdirected Mark guys are on that Buffalo map. Bob and I are in the north part, very little snow. Jerry's on the middle line, some snow.
Yeah.
And Chris
is buried in snow.
And it's even funkier too, because literally Phil, as the crow flies, is like a quarter mile away from me.
It's very close.
And I got like about 6 inches.
I got a foot.
Phil got about a foot.
I got about 2.5 feet.
And I got 6.5, 7-ish.
And that's not uncommon. And I'll just briefly say this and then we can jump into announcements and stuff like that.
I was in Vegas. I came home from the desert to this.
That's a hell of a way to come. I texted you. I was like, are you checking out the weather while you're out there?
Yes, I'm watching all the snow.
I watched a sped up video of the 40 hours of the weekend, the weather map of the 40 hours of the weekend. That band is like as classic lake effect snow as you can get. Like it ripped right across the length of the lake and just pounded the south towns. And then you see it pop up, pop down, pop up, back down. Like it was brutal.
It was awful.
What's funny is that it comes in a straight line, and you can actually see like the barrier of it, and it goes right down the street that my office is on. And so my office gets a little bit of snow, and I live about a half mile north of there, so I get a little bit of all the snow, but none of the main stuff.
I was all excited to be like severely snowed in, which did not pan out. And then Chris flew back into like a snowpocalypse.
My favorite part was me and Jen left Vegas at midnight on Saturday. My family, who was with us, because we were there for my brother and my sister-in-law's 10th wedding anniversary, and they renewed their vows with all this. That was fun. They left at noon that day. We all got home before they did.
Right.
We got home before they did.
Yeah, because if you left early, your flight got canceled.
Correct.
And you had to like reroute. You left. I watched because I was like watching out for you, and I was like watching the board at the airport. It is nothing but cancellations, Chris's flight, and then like some other flights later, like Sunday. You got like the only flight that was scheduled to go to Buffalo that made it to Buffalo that weekend. It was quite an event.
Welcome to Western New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, which if you ever move to Western New York, live above that snow line.
Yep. I'm just going to say no hurricanes, no tornadoes, no torrential flooding, no forest fires, no volcanoes, just a little bit of snow.
But here's the thing about 7 feet of snow. Your neighbors all came out.
Yeah.
Everybody's digging everybody out.
Yeah, it was nice.
Everybody's taking care of everybody.
People were decent.
That's how we roll around here.
Yeah, your house is still there. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got next?
Temperature check. Bob, how you feeling?
A little warm. I'm not used to having this many people in my abode, and so body temperature cranked it up a little bit. So I'm naturally the place is cooling down because it's at night and it's cold outside.
That's because we're all so hot.
Yes.
Well, thank you for offering up your place. Yes. We know that my place has sound things. Like I was afraid we wouldn't.
Yeah, I have no idea if there are sound issues with my neighbors or not, but we'll find out.
I hear them rocking through the wall every now and then.
Yeah, they like to thump the bass over there.
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. We know, Chris, you're good because I tested you.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm COVID fine. Like not positive at all.
I literally was the COVID clinic. Chris came to my house. I had it set up on the table. I'm like, here, I'll do your test for you. Like, just put this in your nose, give it back to me.
Man, the desert was wonderful. I didn't hurt at all. All of my joints were lovely. I came home one day of being in the pea soup of buffalo, and everything is swollen and hurts again.
Yeah,
not my
some people are
favorite.
built
That's what
for it.
Not my favorite. Jerry.
I'm doing fine. Actually, I got lots of sleep this weekend, so despite the fact that I was moving a lot of snow, that might be why I got so much sleep. I just collapsed.
Yeah, there
It
you go.
helps.
Little exercise.
Phil?
No, we had
I'm doing fine. I'm
Awesome.
All right.
I'm heading into Thanksgiving vacation. Before we jump into our main segment,
we're doing announcements now, right?
yes,
We're going on break.
yes. Is this the last?
This
Is this
the
us
last
before
one.
we go to
talked
break?
about it last episode when you weren't here, but,
Sure, that's fine.
yeah, we're going on break, but there will be content every week that we are on break.
Yes,
Yeah,
there is.
Yes.
we worked hard to make you content so that we could.
By work hard, I just made them record an extra off the cuff segment every week for the
That's
last like,
using
10
the melon.
weeks. But we had the time.
It turns out that one, it's great for warm ups,
It is.
and two, it's content that we can use in a jam. Like it's like as if we
Yeah.
were
It's not
actually
even-
banking episodes ahead of us.
Yeah, it's not even in a jam. Like they're fun discussions. I
Yeah.
like having those conversations.
Oh, I love them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
haven't heard an off the cuff episode, which I'm sure you have because there was one out
Yeah.
last week, we just pick a thing and then we talk about it. And now I'm starting to put them in the Slack room. So if you want to join those conversations and have your content read, be a part of the Slack room. It's like $1 on Patreon.
Some of our future content may also be inspired from Mastodon because some of us are now starting to take residence in
Yes.
Mastodon.
Maybe we should
as-
just start a Mastodon misdirected Mark server thing, I guess.
Ugh, I don't think we want to be in charge nor pay for a federated.
Oh, we'd have to pay for it? Never mind.
no,
then.
no. No, it's fine. There's like one big one called Dice Camp that Sage Latora's running.
Okay.
So I'm on it. Senda's on it.
Maybe we'll all just go congregate there. I haven't tried it out yet. So
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Twitter-like.
It's a thing. The
a
whole
thing.
social media thing is in flux.
Yes.
I'm hearing a lot of good things about Hive as far as the interface goes
I
and
got a
the way
mixed
it
bag
works.
on some of it.
The
yeah.
problem with Hive is it's app only. You can't do there's no web version or anything like that. And there's still some issues because they're still young.
and there's
they're
like,
still
it's
working
literally
on
two
some stuff.
developers or something. They're
Yes.
they're not even remotely
They're not
prepared for what's
prepared,
about to
no.
happen to them.
I'm telling you, man, the best way to interact with us is just our Slack channel.
No, that is 100% the best way to interact with us is like
Yes.
come to our walled garden.
Yeah, man, I check
Like,
it. I check it every day.
Someday
like,
down the
multiple
road, there
times.
might be
Yeah.
better, additional methods, but Slack channel is really
until a social media platform takes control again and we're like living in this influx thing where we're all kind of in different social networks trying to figure things out. The one place you can guarantee all of us will wind up at least once a day
Yeah.
is in the Slack channel.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's do that main segment. Then.
Let's do the thing with the thing.
Workshop. We're going to just figure out this campaign right now, right here when we need it. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Don't worry about it. We're going to make it up as we go here tonight in the workshop.
And
Don't suck.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, don't suck.
In the past few months, we've talked we've talked about a lot about our Ox game and the Night's Black Agents game that I'm currently running. In those games, I'm doing a little something, not that I haven't done it before, but I'm doing a little something that I've been calling just-in-time campaign design. Tonight, we're going to discuss it. We're going to discuss the concept as one way to run a campaign. To be clear, it's just one method for running a campaign. It works for some groups. It works for some games. It works for some game masters. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of
Yes.
thing. But you just might be one of those game masters, and you might already be doing it and just not know that it has a name. So let's unpack what just-in-time campaign design means. And Bob, hit me up with that bumper.
I would
love
love
so
to hit you
much.
up with that bumper.
Behold, you are in the presence of Definition Panda.
Tonight, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, as in passing dishes around the table, I am going to share up these definitions with my co-hosts, and starting with campaign as a little bit of a recap.
Yeah. So from the fabulous engine publishing book Odyssey.
Oh, didn't you name that book?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. A campaign is a series of gaming sessions focused on a group of characters that maintains a sense of continuity.
Later expanded in our upcoming episode on arcs, which will be after the break, a month and a half from now. One or more arcs played together creates a campaign, and this increases the scope and potential complexity. In fact, the potential scope too, depending on if the arcs are self-contained or not.
The next one is campaign design. These are the activities around creating material for your campaign, like ideas for arcs, stories, NPCs, locations, etc.
Organizations, things like that.
Phil, would you tell me about Just in Time?
Just in time. So this thing has an actual real world name, right? JIT, Just in Time, derives its name from a manufacturing style created by Toyota in the 1950s and 60s. It strived to match production with demand by only supplying goods that had been ordered and then focus on efficiency, productivity, and reduction of waste. So the idea was like, look, don't make 10,000 bumpers if we need to only make 1,000 cars.
Sure.
Like make 1,000 bumpers and bring them to the assembly line so that we can put them on the cars.
Strangely enough, I think this is actually what my brother does for GM.
Oh yeah, it could be, right? Like
Because
it's
he's
very
an
big into like JIT is a very big manufacturing thing. this is like supply chain stuff and things like that. So if we're translating it into RPGs, then just-in-time campaign design, nice rhyme to it, just-in-time campaign design.
Just-in-time campaign design.
Gonna help you with your game.
It needs workshop.
We'll work, yeah. So this strives to match the creation of campaign material to the demand of when it's needed in the campaign by writing up and creating those things just before you need to use them in your game.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about like just before, like that immediate future, we're talking about like the next story or the next session, as opposed to creating things like way in advance and keeping them like in a binder that you eventually pull out at some point, but it's been months since then. So just-in-time campaign design is creating material for your campaign when it's needed, just before that next story or session, and leaving elements that aren't needed until later date.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that can create demands for material in a campaign?
Sure, we can kick it around the table, but for instance, like an organization. Maybe we've named the organization previously, but haven't defined anything about it.
So now I have to do a bunch of work to create the organization.
Yeah. Now would be the time to do that work.
So that moment when your player characters fixate on that NPC that you just threw in there to have an NPC in the room, and now all of a sudden they're like, this is our favorite character ever.
Who now, if you're doing this in like just in time, you might decide, yes, this is their favorite NPC, or yes, this is the villain in disguise, because that reveal will be way more fun later, kind of thing, right? You have that moment to create it right after they've kind of fixated on it.
Similar to Bob, when your player characters suddenly grab onto that little piece of background minutia that you tossed in, and they decide that's a major plot point they're going to follow now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm assuming it's the same, like Chris, for you or for Jerry. Like there are things I just make up in the middle of a session, and I'm just throwing stuff out because you guys are asking questions, and then somebody's like, "Oh, that's cool. We should do something with it." I'm like writing it down on my index card, like, "Okay, that's sticking around."
You just made the list.
In the after show, let's talk about what happened in my V&V campaign like that.
I know I'm such a front load campaign designer, and I don't like design all of the bits, but I design all of the things so I can answer random questions like that, and then I will flesh them out as need be.
So I think that there's, and we might talk about this a little later in the segment, right? I think that when you're starting a campaign, there's like a certain amount of stuff you need to have done in order to do what you're saying, like to be able to get into like that, like to make characters and get into that first session.
Well, I can either do it that way, or I could just make it all up at the table. Like I could do one or the other. Like you can make that choice.
Absolutely.
One is way more potentially inconsistent.
I like to make things, but not always nail down the specifics. Like for instance, in Ox, the builders, if you ask me right now, are the builders good or evil? I still don't have a definitive answer on it. Have they done good and evil things? Yes. Do I know what the answer is to it? Not really.
The Airy Peaks, I had 33 caverns inside of that mountain that were already not defined. They just had names.
Sure.
And then I had the town of Foot, and I had like 7 NPCs there, and I knew that there was a cult.
Yeah, literally just enough.
That was it.
Yeah, just enough to be like, okay, I have enough in my head to get this to the table and push it into motion.
Yeah, and then I could just build stuff as we go.
Also, and I'm sure this is very big for Chris, because this feels like a very Chris thing. You have enough there to understand how the world works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with Chris's Archmage's Legacy campaign, with all of the elemental additions that you added in.
Yeah, there's a lot more effort.
You needed to know how all of that stuff went together so that it would work. And then when we hit the world and started interacting with it, you had like some consistency with like, okay, well, I know what's going to happen here because this is how all that works.
And with the Archmage's Legacy, there's also the considerations of changing the way certain things like magic and that work. I can tell that Chris has put some thought into how does this affect the politics of the game world and what's going on because of it.
You guys will say that stuff, but to go with Phil's just-in-time thing, I might know all those things, but until you guys make a choice about what you're doing, I don't actually write any adventures. Mm-hmm. It's all setting building until it's not setting building, it's adventure design, and then if I have to build setting around the adventure design. Like I know the points that they're going to go to, but I have no idea exactly what those are fleshed out wise. They're just outlines until I start writing for them.
Yeah, like a lot of times I just have like nebulous terms in a...
Sure.
Like I have nebulous terms in my notes that are like at some point...
Placeholders.
Yeah. At some point this has to become a thing.
So we're like jumping over what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, let's actually talk
dive into it, because then we can actually talk about this.
Absolutely.
So what does just-in-time campaign design look like? We're going to provide an example. What example do we want to provide here?
Let's make a fantasy campaign.
Let's talk about an arc where the characters are striving to obtain the blood glyph.
I like it.
That sounds like a particularly good MacGuffin.
I
So
like that.
this glyph is something that they'll need to beat Baron Von Badass's butt later.
Yeah.
Because I like alliteration. I'm predicting that the arc will be about 4 or 5 stories, and stories for us is the beginning, the middle, and end of like of a tale, essentially.
Absolutely.
Tale is not a word that we have coined in any way, shape, or form.
Correct.
Story is, though.
Yes.
It also will depend on how the events play out, how long it'll be. My initial thought is to have this story arc end in a ruined temple located in the underbelly of a nearby city. So
It's a nice aspiration.
Yep.
It's a good start.
So I got a plan. We're going to start playing. Things are going well. The third story ends, and I ask my players a question. What do you guys want to see in the upcoming session?
Oh, I got an idea. Let's go to the high seas.
Okay. Well, they've been adventuring on the coast this entire time, staring longingly at the sea, but I haven't ventured out onto the water yet with them. And now Jerry's like, let's go to the sea.
I want to be a pirate.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I want to go to the sea too. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was going to put this temple under the city, but I guess I can just as easily put it at the bottom of the sea and let them sail around. So I haven't prepared the temple of the city yet because it hasn't come up in the game, which is what Phil is saying. Like, I have a name of a city, but I haven't drawn out a city or done any of that. I also didn't foreshadow it being there because I didn't put in the effort. Yay for being lazy.
Yes.
Or you could also just be an adult with other responsibilities.
I mean,
That's the thing.
yes.
Preparation pays off in the long run.
Yeah,
Lazy
yeah.
pays off right now.
Yes. Yes.
So it's-
exactly.
In this case, it's easy enough for me to make that change without messing up the game shared narrative space, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't have to retcon anything because we've played out so far.
No, we're still looking for the blood glyph. Now the next clue is like, oh, it's in the water. Ooh, like let's get a ship.
Yeah, because that's what I do then, right? The next story, I'm just dropping clues that lead you out to the location of submerged temple to find that blood glyph.
So instead of it being in the city of Cliffport, now it's in the sunken ruins of Cliffport.
There you go.
Mountport.
Yes.
Mountport.
Mountport, the sunken ruins of Mountport. Sure, it used to be a mountain. Oh,
Yeah.
now it's
No,
weird.
it's a
Yes.
it's a joke from
I don't get it.
Those guys that were in
Game
college
Changer.
who were game changers.
Game Changer.
Changers?
There's
Okay.
there's a musical one that they do. It's a town called Mountport.
Ah,
How can it be? Sendel will appreciate that.
okay.
Annie Hoozles.
And he was moving on.
Super inside
So
jokes.
in this example, the GM has a rough idea of how the arc should go.
Yes, I do.
Along with an idea of how it should end.
I do.
Right? But during play, they take in the wants of the players, make an adjustment to how the arc will end to both complete the arc as intended, but also to give the players more of what they want.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So by way of comparison, another way to have prepared this campaign arc is maybe I just sat down and I wrote out all 5 of the sessions for the arc, right? I laid them all out. I'm like, session 1's here, session 2's here, all the way to session 5 in the underbelly of the city. Check. And then at the end of the third session, when the player's like, man, we would love to go out on the water, I'm like, yeah, maybe the next arc I'll put you guys out in the water. Like I got 5 things already prepped here. Like I'm finishing this thing out. And write a note to myself. Next arc after Blood Glyph, water.
This could also happen when you're running a pre-published adventure because those tend to be already designed for you, and the players might decide to go completely off book and want to do something that's not in the game itself. And so you now have to make something up as you go.
Same deal as writing out your arcs completely.
I gotta pause you. How did we come up with the name pre-published? Like, did it publish itself before it was published? Like,
It's a good question.
Like, I think it's just published, right? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. Like somewhere we picked up the word pre-published, but I'm like
It
sitting
should
looking
just
at it,
be
and I'm like, I
published
think it's just
campaigns.
published.
I know where it came from, but that's
Prepared
okay.
adventure? Like, is there an
Where
origin?
did
to it?
pre-publish
Yeah,
come from?
it's because when we did the episode on published adventures, I was trying to come up with a term, and I tossed pre-published out when we were talking about it, and it just stuck with us as we went. But yes, it should be just published campaigns.
All right, I'm all right. Well, pre-published, published. Like, there's some timey-wimey stuff in there.
Sure, yeah.
Wibbly wobbly.
Wibbly wobbly.
Mhm. Anyway, neither approach is better than the other. We're just using this for a comparison. So
Yeah, I don't want to I hate when. So I love when we come up with stuff like, oh, this is a way to do it. I don't want you in the least to think like, oh, I'm doing a shitty job GMing because I don't ever do this. Like, it's fine. You don't have to do this.
Because I feel like this just-in-time style, I don't know that it's as deliberate as you're saying it is, but I feel like most game masters run their games like this.
I feel like they do it at least on occasion without realizing that like it has a name. Like they may not do it all the time, but I'm sure they do it.
I can remember doing stuff like this all the way back to our Iron Heroes campaign, where I was like very loosey-goosey about like, I know where this campaign ends. I know that there'll be some arcs to get there, but I didn't really know what they were until like we got a lot closer. I think the difference is now is like when I'm doing it in Ox, I'm very deliberate about it. Like I'm very deliberate not to overplan things way in advance because you guys have such latitude in that game of things that you can invent, create, theorize, things like that, that I don't try to create too much because there's a good chance it would bump into something that you guys are doing. And I side with you guys in terms of stuff you create before I put like my final spin on it. Like you guys have been on this quest for a while to find this hidden city. We only recently figured out where it was, theoretically, right? That it's in this dimensional pocket. Only like 5 days before that session did I figure out exactly where it was.
Yeah.
I had like some rough ideas. And then the week of the session, I'm like, you better sit your ass down and come up with some pseudoscience explanation for where this thing is before you hit the table. The time is up. You now need to place this thing in the universe and make it logical enough for you guys to play from that point on. And so I did. Part of my campaign prep was sitting there with that little weird piece of paper doing the wormhole trick.
Yeah.
Like where like, oh, but it's only half a wormhole.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But I literally didn't know that. So I think my difference now as a GM, because I think I agree with both of you. I think on some level, many of us are doing it. But what I think when we do these kinds of shows is when you learn about what exactly it is, you can be even more deliberate about it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. When I was using a published adventure or campaign, I didn't always do this because I had it right there. So then I had to be much more deliberate about pointing my players to the next plot points. Otherwise, it didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's one of the reasons it's not that I dislike published adventures. They're just not my gig. I like doing this activity. I like doing this.
Sure. I like both. What were you going to say?
I've done both. I've been doing this kind of thing since like 82, 83, because there were often times that I was creating games on the fly as I suddenly realized that we had players showing up that I wasn't expecting. And even with pre-published adventures.
Published adventures, pre-published adventures, might as well be the same thing. There's like an equal sign between those two things, apparently.
We're gonna have to do some work.
I mean, I'll be honest. I think I can't remember running any game as written where we didn't have somebody decide they wanted to do something different, and we just had to come up with something. And we're going to talk about this a little later, but I mean, there were ways to prepare for that, to prepare for just-in-time situations in places where you had something going forward. And so I think that it's worth remembering that there's a lot of different ways to work with this. And like you said,
absolutely,
just about everybody's done it one time or another.
I mean, when I was using commercial adventures, should try that one.
Oh, that one's good.
You like commercial?
Job, Bob. Commercial adventures.
I name shit. Boom.
It's his superpower.
Wow, commercial adventures.
What if it was given away for free?
Still commercial.
Still commercial. So, is that all you were going to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to.
I just wanted to get the word commercial in there. I see that's in.
I wanted to solve our conundrum.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Commercial solved our conundrum. So, what does this do in a campaign, Jerry?
Well, there's a couple of reasons why you might want to take this approach. We're going to list a couple of them here, but this is not going to be a complete, and it's not going to be in any particular order. First, it means you just got less upfront work to put the campaign together. If you're only writing the things you need just before you need them, then you're writing less than if you worked out everything that you think you needed for the campaign. And as a lot of us gamers get older and have less and less available time, it's nice to have something that you can just work on a little bit instead of having to sit down and write out 45 pages of backstory first. This is true while the campaign is going, and especially true at the start of the campaign when you don't know where the players are going to take the story. Also, if you end up with a campaign that just doesn't take off and you end it early, then you have not invested too much time or material into getting it started. Bill?
One time, I wrote 50 pages of background for a superhero game
then it died.
That went less than 4 sessions.
It's like you solved the campaign in the 50 pages of backstory.
I made superheroes boring.
Yeah.
And then we played it, and it was boring, and then we didn't play it anymore.
Yeah.
I created a campaign world, created campaign story, created an adventure and everything. The players killed each other off in the opening scene. The game lasted less than 2 hours and the entire campaign was over.
To caveat it, it wasn't a game of paranoia, right?
No.
Okay, because that would have been a perfectly acceptable paranoia adventure.
It was Palladium Fantasy.
So first of all, before we get back on topic, first of all, it probably took them about 6 hours to make characters. Oh. Palladium was awful for that stuff.
I don't know what you guys were doing that took you guys hours
Followed
to make
all
characters.
the rules.
I mean, it wasn't Champions.
No, it wasn't Champions.
You could create a Palladium character in about hour and a half.
That's still too much time.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Still, I'm always fascinated about stories of player mortality at the table.
Player mortality, character mortality.
The best part about this was that the entire group of 9 characters, they all died, and I didn't kill any of them.
Yeah. That means you're doing it right.
So, I'd have fired that group. I'd have been like, you're out of here. I'm getting a group that can actually play my campaign.
See if I can't ask a question.
Shitting all over it.
Put us back on topic.
Get us back on topic, Chris,
Thank you.
for God's
There
sake.
was a thing that was said in here that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
At the start of the campaign, like putting all this effort into it. I think if you do all that that effort, put all that effort into it, and you kind of know what's going on. We have better tools these days to like make sure that the players do the thing that you want them to do. It's called session zero and being like, this is what the game's about. This is what you're going to be doing. Are you all on board with this? If you guys kill each other, if you folks kill each other in the first session, you're all fired.
You're all fired from this game.
I would not run that game now.
To be less vitriolic about it, I suppose. Let's just not kill each other. Let's just all be friends. Can we all just get along?
Let's just agree we're not doing PvP here.
Yeah.
Sure, right? Yeah. What are the kind of things that you might need at the start of the campaign versus later in the campaign?
You need enough detail in the setting for the players to be able to make their character.
Yes.
You don't need it to be super detailed, but I need to tell you enough about this setting so that when you say, what do the characters do in this world, I have an answer for that.
And this does not have to be long. Let me explain.
Correct.
We're going to a mountain in the north. There is a dragon that used to live there. It's treasures all over the place. There's a little town there that caters to adventurers. Your adventurers looking for money, fame, fortune, whatever. You tell me, but you're going here and you're going into the mountain to adventure. Do you need any more than that?
Not really.
No, that's enough to get started.
Rock and roll.
I did that in 20 seconds, 15 seconds?
Absolutely. I did one for a game that I played with Senda Andy and Senda Sun, where I very quickly made up like a paragraph about these solar rangers and all this stuff, and was like, it's like an 80s cartoon. There could be a toy line for this game, right?
Solar Rangers.
Yes, like you fly around, you do good things, you fight bad guys.
You can be more complicated. You don't have to be.
Yeah, but the idea is if we're going just in time, provide just enough material.
If you want to be a little bit more complex with it, we talked about this on our off the cuff from last week. You can make a one sheet. We haven't talked about a one sheet for a long time.
Yep.
And for a long time, forever, a long time. Like either way,
In many moons.
one sheets are great.
So going back to that idea, what do you need? My answer to that is right. I need to give you enough as players so that you could get a character made.
Yes.
Any other?
Anybody else?
I mean, just to expand off of that just a little bit, there's nothing worse than saying, okay, we're going to sit down, we're going to make characters. All right. What do you want to be? Where are we?
Where's the framework?
Where's the framework? Analysis paralysis. The more blanks you have, the harder it is to fill them.
Yep. Creative constraints. Right?
Yeah. If you've got some box that you have to build inside, now you've got a place to start from.
And this is why it's a good idea as a GM to have some other tools in your background. So if the players ask a question like, are there any organizations up there? Even if you don't have something in the back of your mind, what kind of organization would I have there if I wanted to? Yes, there's a professional treasure hunting guild, or there's a group of clerics that collect dragon scales and worship the dragon. And they go around helping people by using the dragon scales to build things. That's it. That's all you need. You don't have to put that out there initially because if the players don't grab onto it, but have some idea in your mind of things like that, or just make it up off the cuff like we just did.
There's all kinds of ways to creatively constrain everybody, yourself and the players at the table.
Yeah.
The other all the players at the table.
You can even just ask the player, like, oh, if you're interested in being part of an organization, what kind of organization would you like to be a part of? Right?
Yes.
Is it a Pathfinders Guild? Is it a fraternal order? Is it an order of knights, clerics? From there, you can totally just build upon it and say,
Totally.
like, let's do it. Like, let's build your organization right here on the fly.
And gee, this is a fantasy city. There's a thieves guild, right?
Yeah, of course
There's
is.
totally a thieves guild. Yeah. What do you want it like? Do you want it like a mob? Do you want it like a secret society? That kind of thing. And then
You don't have to tell them. You don't even have to say that. You can just tell them, like, yes, it is a bunch of people who are second story workers.
Sure.
That are also run grifts.
Now later, because this is a just-in-time campaign, later I might tack some additional information onto that organization later in the campaign where I'm like, you know what? Be interesting if they were in cahoots with the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, oh, I'll just add that on. I don't have to come up with that right away.
Or they were a subsection of a larger guild.
Yeah.
That did a lot of other things like assassination, racketeering, whatever.
Yeah, this is literally
Or take it a different direction. They're actually been organized by a deposed prince who's in hiding, and he's slowly building an army by training all these people in subterfuge and the like.
Yeah, so the idea is you can help players with that piece that they need right at the moment, and then you can just build on it later.
Okay. So what we're saying is at the start is we just need foundational stuff. Yep. Later, it's about fleshing out the things that you've already built or building new things that people are interested in.
And this ties into our next point.
Yep.
The second one is you are deferring to science until you need them. So you are using the best information possible in your design. That is the point of this just-in-time thing, because you don't have to retcon anything in your own head even. You're creating those elements that you can utilize right up to that point to inform the design too. It's very useful that way. It's especially beneficial when creating stats for NPCs and creatures. if you created the stats for your opposition at the start of the campaign, you have no idea what the characters are going to be like versus creating the stats for those big bads just before the climactic battle. Right. And you can work in all sorts of fun stuff. Believe me, man, I didn't stat up Tanareel in my Archmage's Legacy campaign for these two guys to fight until the week before they fought.
I literally took the character sheets from the players for the
Demon King.
Yeah, for the Demon King, took them and went and studied them and was like, all right, how do I build an opponent that will be the one that could last more than 3 turns and 2 will be interesting to fight? Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean I didn't have a theme or anything like that for these things that where I was building up towards.
Right.
Sure.
I hinted at them. I knew what was going to be the thematic parts of these fights and these encounters and these bad guys, but I waited till the last moment to like build them into a thing so that it wouldn't feel busted for the characters to deal with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Computer, create a Holmesian opponent that's worthy of data.
Big
Wait,
mistake.
what did you just...
Big mistake.
Wrong.
Should have been some safety, like
Man,
The computer should have been, wait a minute.
no.
didn't they turn off the safety for that episode of Star Trek?
They
We're talking
might
about
have.
episode of Star Trek now.
I don't think they did.
They might have. Somebody should have gotten in trouble. Like somebody should have gotten in trouble for making an opponent better than Data. Like
By the way, is this cheating? No. It's storytelling. This is storytelling.
Yes.
You are providing challenges for the characters to overcome that show off the strengths and weaknesses of the characters. This is the point.
I think it's only cheating if you're like, now I'm going to build a character that absolutely nerfs every one of these motherfuckers.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's your whole goal,
As a
then
matter of
yes.
fact, I'm going to tell
But
you.
also then quit as a GM because you're shitty.
As a GM, I'm going to say I think that you should not create adversaries whose sole job is to nerf
Yes,
players'
absolutely not.
abilities. Don't create an anti-magic zone if you've got a wizard in the party.
You could do that once. You could do that once. You can't do that all the time.
And it's not the thing that you want to do in your final encounter because that's where the players. It's the final encounter. It's where the players want to shine. And so if you have anti-magic zone or a character who's immune to piercing weapons when you've got a ranger in the party, you're just going to be making one player feel useless for that game.
Here's the thing. If you think that, it might be interesting, like say, okay, we got an anti-magic zone during this climactic fight. It's not going to be up for the whole fight to
That's
nerf
the way
the
to do
wizard
it.
completely.
Yes.
You give them hints along the way so that they know, oh, there's an anti-magic zone here. There's a way to turn this off. Now you send the rogue to use his rogue skills to go find the off switch so that he can give the mage the boost to go kick the guy's ass.
At which point you're not creating a villain whose sole ability is to do that. You're creating a situation that can be gotten around by the players. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's dramatic and fun.
Yes.
Dramatic.
Yeah.
And it creates teamwork opportunities.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bob's example created teamwork opportunities.
That's a
was excellent.
very different example, right? If you, my point about quitting as a GM is if you were literally like, I'm gonna make this bad guy just to nerf these guys and punch him around the table for a little while, like, why are you in this game?
He literally has a cone of anti-magic emanating from his eyes.
From his
then
ass.
Just
Like
bite
you
me.
can't sneak up on him either.
Well, if he's emanating from the eye, that means it's only just one direction. So then, you surround him.
What happens if he
don't do
loses
that.
the eye?
Also, put his eye out. You can do a whole lot of things, right?
Don't put your eye out, kid. Anyhow.
For everybody out there, the storytelling beat is that you will have a challenge for them to overcome that is not the obvious way to overcome it. And then, but will make sense when it is done. That is how a lot of stories get resolved for characters.
It is okay to sweat him a little.
It is okay to
In
sweat.
fact, it's
Yes.
fun to sweat him a little.
In fact, otherwise,
Going to
what's
make
the
you
point?
sweat.
Sure, they actually like it too.
Yeah.
Like they might not think they do, but that little bit of tension until they figure out, like, oh,
sure.
quick, send the rogue, and then they're like, everybody's super jazzed.
Yeah, at the beginning of the fight, they're probably thinking, you fucker. Oh.
This is why every time that Jerry or Bob were like, man, those encounters were great. I'm like, that's why, because I sweat them a little, but not so much that they couldn't deal with it.
Exactly.
No, we encountered like the Tedriel guy. He had a lot of things that made like the anti-gravity ability, the armor that he had, his blooded abilities. All those made him challenging, but none of them made him unbeatable. It just meant that we had to change our tactics a few times. But at no point were any of us going, well, I'm useless in this turn.
Correct.
There were a few moments where me, was like, oh shit, I'm going to die.
That's accurate.
But you weren't
But
useless.
I'm used to that.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do.
There's a difference between that, though, and feeling useless. There's a situation where you're like, okay, my favorite ability doesn't work, but I've got other things I can do. And I'm just going to stand here for a turn because nothing I do is going to have an effect this turn. That's a different situation. And Chris makes sure that we don't have those situations
Because it's
with
not
characters.
fun.
It's not fun.
Phil, what's third?
Yeah, third thing, right? It's easier to adjust stories and arcs of the campaign when you have defined less of it up front. So, really quick, going back to our example with the blood glyph, right? If the GM planned to put the blood glyph under the city, but after getting feedback from the players, moves it to the underwater temple because that's what the players wanted to have happen in the game.
Correct.
First, the GM didn't prep the whole 5 arcs up front, so no time there. Less
Yeah,
time
yeah.
and less time to getting started. And second, that incorporation doesn't require any retconning or rewriting.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to change some like clue that you gave previously, like, oh, it is under the city. Oh, I meant the city under the water. Like, it's not that we GMs aren't skilled enough. Like, I can pull that shit off when I need to. But if I don't have to backpedal, it's great. And for me personally, I want to give you that experience.
Yeah.
So I want to be flexible enough to just, at the last minute, change it up.
What's fourth, Jerry?
Well, the next thing is that you're going to create some high emotional investment for the players because they're going to be the driving force behind how the campaign actually works.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to our early example. Would the players have been upset if the temple was still under the city? Probably not. But are they going to be more excited because it's a high seas adventure and now it's under the water? They're probably much more excited about that.
Unless they don't like underwater adventures, they just want to be on the ship.
Sure. I mean, you can't listen.
I'm just kidding.
You can't please them all the time.
Jerry is correct. Yes.
No, that is exactly how I feel. I like to be on the water, not under the water, both in real life and in games. And when there's a back and forth between the player wants and what the GM delivers, you're going to have that emotional connection because the players are going to have feelings like what they're doing matters. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So what's next, Chris?
Well, fifth and last, I suppose. It's going to create some surprises for the game master, which is pretty enjoyable from where I'm usually sitting behind the screen, and I think Phil feels the same. Phil feels the same way. Man, I cannot talk today. But yeah, you feel the same way.
I love it. I love being surprised during a game.
I assume Jerry likes it too when he's game master.
I love it when the players surprise me.
I love being surprised.
If you wait till the last minute creating all this stuff, you also get to be surprised as well by the stuff that you might come up with. That's a ton of fun too. There are times when you could have an idea for an element, an NPC or something like that. And then after a session, you realize that you should do something totally different because, it just works better. It's nice. That's one of those times where we actually get a chance to rewrite things before they actually show up at the table, which is quite enjoyable. It feels more like being a writer at that point. Because the times that I've rewritten things for stories is beyond count.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Phil, where does this thing fall short?
Sure, right. It's got some shortcomings. The biggest shortcoming is, first of all, if you have a very specific story arc in mind, right? If you're like, I had this fever dream, I have this great idea for a story that I want to like play out for my players, then you have it figured out. Like if you have a very specific idea, it's locked down. It's okay.
Man. If you've got that linear design adventure idea that you need to pull off, there are a ton of ways that you can do it successfully.
Absolutely. Right. So like if you're that kind, like if you wake up and you're like, I'm running a D&D campaign, but this is the story I want to tell, rock on. Just in time might not be the best thing for the overall campaign. You might use it to make little tweaks here and there kind of thing. This technique, just in time, works best when you have some like high level ideas, but you're not really holding on to anything too hard, right? You're just like, yeah, it's about this thing, but we got a lot of room for what that means.
Jerry.
Well, this can also be a problem when you get creatively blocked. Deferred figuring things out ahead of time, you're going to hit a creative wall, and now you're going to have some issues getting your game to the table because you don't have any ideas on what to do next. Now, we're talking the next section because I have some ideas on how to solve that problem.
Good.
But yeah, if you just get creatively blocked and you're doing just in time, you might be like, I don't know what we're going to do this week.
If you're a person who has like that frequent writer's block, or if you are a newer GM and you haven't really worked up your problem solving and story building skills, you're going out on a limb on this. But like I can say 40 years of GMing, I'm pretty confident that I can whip up a solution to most of my sessions within a week. If I start on a Monday and the session's on a Sunday, I'm pretty confident. And again, 40 years of GMing, I can get myself there, and that's okay. But if you're new and you're like, oh, like sometimes I try so hard and I can't come up with ideas, this is a risk to this to this technique.
It's so strange because I feel like the farther you get into the game, the more campaign momentum just will carry you through.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
100%. Because you've built up so much material, you now have so much more to draw from. It's why the pilot couple episodes of a series are always thinner and weirder than the end of that season or the beginning of the next season, because you've built up so much more information to draw from.
I think it's dependent on how good the storytelling is.
I'm with you.
That's me. Like, but
sure,
yes,
that's valid.
I believe you are correct in general. Like 95% of the time, that is the case.
That's why the first season of every Star Trek episode, every season is okay, with Strange New Worlds being a complete fucking break from that.
Doesn't count. A lot of those characters were introduced previously.
They did. They bootstrapped themselves from Discovery. But like TNG season 1, DS9, even DS9 season 1 is pretty good. Not great. It gets better.
Lower Deck season 1 is amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. See, that's one of those ones.
Anyway,
there are
Chris,
definitely ones that fall out of
Like I
that
said,
thing.
there's like I said, 1 out of 20, man. I bet we could find one. I think it's probably less than that.
2 out of 3 times.
All right, Chris, tell us the next one.
So when you get time crunched, I mean, if you haven't prepped your games in advance and you get time crunched, there's a new project for work or a new work schedule or something that just is like, oh man, you got to go do some work on something, anything like your fridge breaks, your washing machine busts.
You have a baby.
You have a snowpocalypse.
Yes, all of these.
All of these things that can kind of put a damper on your prep time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a problem. Bob, what's the last one?
So it's more work if you're using commercial material.
Commercial material.
Because commercial material is already written. Making adjustments to it is going to require more work than just running the material as written.
Do you know what the most impressive thing about this is, Bob? That you actually were able to change the word from in your head from published to commercial, unlike last week.
Right.
Oh,
Or
was
2
there
weeks
an
ago.
incident?
There might have been an incident a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a thing.
Did he Ron Burgundy it?
No, he got confused because Jerry read something that wasn't on the screen.
The
He was like-
teleprompter didn't move.
He was like, "What's going
The
on?"
episode was supposed to be politics, geopolitics.
Sure.
And then they changed it to living campaigns.
Because it wasn't a geopolitics.
No, it
Right, but they didn't tell me that they made the change. And Jerry starts going, living campaigns. And I'm like, wait a minute. What the fuck just happened?
It was funny.
It was funny.
All right.
Because we handle our shows with just-in-time campaign prep as well.
Sometimes.
There is some just-in-time show prep that happens.
Sometimes,
Yes.
yes.
All right. Let's take a break. Bob, tell me about another show on the network.
I would love to tell you about another show on the network. So you may have heard of this one. It's Pandas Talking Games.
Never heard of it.
Maybe.
Possible?
I think you should look them up. So queer gamers talking about tabletop role-playing games and making outtakes.
Holy Lord, Phil, you're on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Join Pandas Phil and Senda every
caught on.
Wednesday,
Shit.
unless there's, a
moonlighting.
hiccup. But every Wednesday, answering listener questions about playing, running, and designing tabletop RPGs. Get cozy and let's talk some games.
I'm pretty sure that the Venn diagram of listeners to this show and the listeners of that show is also an overlap.
I'm sure it is.
It's a circle.
little bit.
I would hope
I'll
so.
tell you, man, the Pandas fans that don't listen to Misdirected Mark, they are vocal though about being, well, we don't listen to Misdirected Mark. That show sucks. I'm like, wow, okay, my bad.
I'm
Yeah,
there.
you know.
Like if you like the other show,
Jeez.
like it's like that too.
Look, I get it. Like, there's no Senda on that show, so this show is by far lesser.
well,
Because
I feel like if that's the case, then you know who they're there for,
Yeah,
right?
right,
Like
right.
it's like Senda and that guy that like lets her rest her voice from time to time. Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the topic.
All right. Like, how do you actually do this?
I don't know how do you do this.
I know. Let's talk about it.
tell
Very
me.
Good
carefully.
ideas.
So
It's black, so you have to tell me.
that's called the intro. I'm working my way into it.
okay.
Come on, Ron, burgundy this up.
Yeah. Okay. When you're starting the campaign, you're going to have to put a little more work in the game for just the reasons we said earlier. You got to get that foundational stuff together so that everybody can actually figure out who they are, what they're going to do, that kind of thing. And you need to figure that out too, right?
Yes.
So you're going to need some high level material for that. Keep that material vague and use broad strokes. It's a king. He's corrupt. Not why he's corrupt or, who he's in the pocket of. Like, just, he's a king. He's corrupt. Big, broad strokes.
Yes.
That's going to give you lots of room later to go in and fill that in with stuff when you need to. Just detail it if you need it for session 0 or session 1. Don't say this all the time, right? Don't plan your whole campaign because it may not get off the table. So just give yourself enough to get out the door and get it into the player's hands. Later in the campaign, come back and just fill in when you need to. All right, during session 0, get initial ideas of what people would like to see in the game. Now, you might have in your concept of the game, you might be like, hey, this is what you are. You're solar rangers, fly around the galaxy, fight bad guys. We don't have to get a ton of input from everybody. Like, everybody might be like, yes, I'm on board. I like your campaign premise. We're in. But you might be playing something broad. Like maybe you have an idea, like you want to play D&D in a specific region, but you don't really have down what to do. And so you're like, okay, what do you guys want to do? Like, oh, we want to be wandering sellswords. Oh, we want to be minstrels who go town to town and then also get into hijinks and stuff like that. We're hardcore mercenaries. We follow a cleric. And then you can say, cool, I'm going to grab some of that. I'm going to take that with me back for prep work. And yeah, let's build your premise around that.
I commend all those game masters that do that because this is definitely not me.
No, that's definitely not you. You always arrive. I mean, you arrive with a plan, but you could, like, for instance, actually, I know this is true. When we did Forbidden Lands, like, we just knew we wanted to play the game. And since the game had like wandering and traveling in it, it was like, I don't know, what do you guys want to do? And eventually it was like, well, we'd like to have a stronghold. And I'm like, I could find one of those for you, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's entirely possible. And I think that's okay if you like love the setting.
Sure. Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I love the setting, love the game. what do you guys want to do? And I'm having that discussion right now in the pre-session 0 with my other Sunday group about Cyberpunk Red. That game's pretty broad. What do you want this game to be about? I just want to play Cyberpunk Red and play something cyberpunky, but you guys tell me, like, do you want to be cool corporate raiders? Do you want to like help a neighborhood? Like, what's
neighborhood?
Yeah, see, I love these guys.
Yeah, we were, two of us and Glenn have already had this discussion multiple times. We want neighborhood.
Yeah, I was like, cool. I would like that's interesting to me too.
Night City.
You know what game let me do something like that?
Yeah.
Was Scum and Villainy. When we played Scum and Villainy, I didn't have a plan because the game helps you just promote what the game, what you'll be doing. Even you were I think the two of you played in that game, right?
Yeah.
So that was the Firefly ship.
Yeah, everything was going great until we started, wholesale slaughter
They
of
destroyed a star.
star systems.
Well, Dark Phoenix move. There's not a lot of room for you afterwards.
Yeah, we were still good guys.
Yeah, so was Gene.
You weren't bad guys, but you did make a terrible mistake.
We did make a terrible
Just because
mistake.
you are bad guy.
Does not mean that you're a bad
Does
guy.
not mean that I'm a bad guy.
We accomplished our goal.
We did.
All right, let me put a cap on this. Besides the campaign premise stuff, you need a little bit of a short arc to get the story going. What's that initial inciting incident? What is that initial story to kind of get the game going? Like, you now have characters. How do we get them into play? You're going to have to do a little extra work on this one because you have to kind of, again, the momentum thing, right? You got to push this thing to get it going, overcome that coefficient of static friction.
Slow down there, science boy.
Now I'm going to say that when you go do that sort of thing, it doesn't have to be super specific. I literally started a campaign where I told the players that they were all, for various reasons, working together because they were trying to get back a book that was stolen by Dr. MacGuffin. And that that was literally the character's name. That told them exactly what was going on, why they were trying to go after this book. They knew that this was going to be, and then we kind of build what the book was and why it was important as the game went on. And I didn't tell them that part of it. That was it. You guys are in town, and for various reasons, we're going to talk about why each of you are there. But each of you is there because you've been told to get the book back from Dr. MacGuffin. And that's all that we needed for our inciting incident.
Sure.
What usually helps me when I'm first trying to get that session 0 concept thing in my head, and this is like what helped me immensely with Ox, was like I made up an initial adventure as a premise. And then my first game I run is just that premise because I actually want to see if it's going to work, right? So the first game in Ox is the thing that I kept saying over and over. There's a fire cane closing in on a wedding. Like, what do you do? If this idea plays at the table in the first session, there's a good chance this game is going to do what I think it's going to do. I often do that because in my head, I'm like, cool, this gives me some idea. Like, what do the players do? Because you guys were asking me, like, what do we do? And I'm like, yeah, like you stop a fire cane. I must have said it like 20 times before we started making characters.
We used the fire cane as an example so many times that when you got to that first session, if you had not said you have to stop the fire cane, we would have all looked at you like, dude.
Like, why save that, right? Like, just put it on the table right away.
Sure. You'll have better ideas later.
Yeah.
And I know for Chris, I'm assuming because you know the kind of story you want to tell, you have a pretty good idea, especially as a writer, what your inciting incident's going to be.
Yeah, and it has to be related to whatever the ongoing thing is.
Yeah.
So the Archmage's Legacy campaign, it was go into the tomb of the Archmage that was found, follow up on the party that you're a part of a company, like a venture company, that find out what happened to the lich that was supposedly kept down there, which they did. And
Oops, he got out.
he got out, and that also relates to
Wasn't my
all
fault.
of the themes, which is like legacy. Like everything about it is legacy.
I would like to state for the court record that we are not the ones who let him out.
That's true.
Thank
That's true. It wasn't their fault. That wasn't them. It was another group of people.
We did not release.
By the way, that's how once you hit 10th level and you need a master as a wizard, the Lich is your...
Strangely enough, the Airy Peaks first session was supposed to be a one shot, and it ended up being 3 years of game. And the first session was let's fight some giants.
Yeah, right in the first level. First level, there's a giant about to swing like a big hammer on you. It's like, holy fuck! Like, yes, this game's happening right now.
Yeah,
like,
it's go time.
That's what happened.
And we all went, do we have to stop after this? Can we
he died, and
do this again?
that giant died in the best way possible.
That happened. That did happen.
Somebody took him down, and I had to do the defy danger move. And Chris is like, what stat do you want to defy danger with? And I'm like, I know what stat I want to use because I have a +2 in one of them. I want it to be strength, but I'm like, how do I defy danger
Giant
with this
falls on
falling
you.
giant with strength? And I'm like, I cut my way through it as it falls on top of me.
That's exactly what happened.
And that's beautiful.
And I rolled like some big fat
Very John
chunky
Carter
success.
against the white ape.
And literally the giant fell on me, and the next thing in like some anime gore thing, the back blows open.
Yeah, that happened.
And there's the barbarian. I'm like, fuck, we got to play this game again. Like, this game's cool.
I also think that helps when you do the GM, because that is 100% pulpy shit.
Yeah, I mean,
you play to your GM, right?
Yeah.
it's accurate. Why do you think I have a relationship in that Ox game?
Right.
My GM.
Yes.
Yeah, play to your GM.
Yep.
I think the thing that we're saying here, though, about this, what we're talking about, is that you don't need to have a ton. You can have a ton or not a ton of stuff to start with. It's just that you have to have something.
Yes.
So that people are at least on the same page.
You got to get, because you got to get through character
Right.
generation.
It doesn't matter if it's a book that everybody creates at the table together. It creates buy-in. It doesn't matter if it's a pulpy situation. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's the premise of the game. Like, you're going to be solving problems like this with science, right? Or if it's, a thematically appropriate adventure to go along with the beginning of the campaign that introduces a lot of the characters and ideas. Actually, it didn't introduce characters. All it did was introduce ideas and highlight the main characters, which were the player characters.
Yeah, and I think my definite feeling is I want my first adventure for a game to feel like the game we're running. We can have sessions later that diverge from that, but your first taste of the game, my first NBA session that we ran for you guys, investigation. Right from the beginning, boom. Yep. In the end of the first session, vampire. Do not wait on it. Do not soft serve it. Boom, vampire.
Yeah, man. Yeah. The RPG Legacy campaign, dungeon.
Right.
First session, traps, monsters, magical stuff, high magical stuff. That was a thing that it was everywhere.
Yeah, you want to give them that taste. Like, this is what we said we're playing. We're playing it right now.
I assume your games are the same way.
Yeah, try to. Yeah. Get them right in with whatever the plot's going to be, and have some stuff. We'll talk about in the after show. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the MacGuffin book, but we'll save that for the after show.
Okay. From there, you're running the game. You have your beginning, now you're running a game. You design arcs, but they're kind of in a rough form. You don't need to detail everything. You design stories, but you only create the problems and let the players figure them out. That's
Throw
a great way to do it.
There.
Right?
You put the muscle and the flesh on it later.
And then as you create these stories, you create the elements you need. Like, you create the NPCs that they're likely to encounter. You detail some background information that will come up in the session, or whatever is needed for the internal logic of the story to make sense. For instance, if I have a session that is all about talking to people, I have to build a bunch of NPCs and figure out a way to present them in a way that makes sense, that everybody can remember who they are later.
Yes.
Hence, me taking a bunch of index cards and pictures and putting names on them and then uncovering them as they meet them.
That was great.
Yeah, that was
very
a lot
smart.
of fun. That was a lot of fun.
During the session, have a Jerry to take good notes on what the people do in the session and how that.
Always have a Jerry.
Thank you very much.
take good notes. that helps a lot, because that impacts the ideas that you'll have later. Believe me, I've gone back and read a recaps. I'm like, oh yeah, let me just jot that down. And I got something else. Jerry, something else.
Well, to avoid the problem of being creatively blocked, I almost always will jot down some notes about possible encounters as the story goes on. If somebody mentions something that might be a fun side quest, I'll put it to the side. Maybe I just have something available when we don't have a quorum of players. And make sure that I have a couple of notes with suggestions for resources that I already have on hand. I like to collect books of tables and charts and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll just, for entertainment purposes, I'll roll randomly just to get some stuff together and just note down, this sounds interesting. This is a cool magic item, whatever. And this is where I go to the commercial adventures that are out there. I'll go through some of my favorites and figure out which ones have good story arcs or good encounters. The old Pathfinder adventures, at the back of every episode, they would have a separate mini adventure that was thematically part of the adventure that had nothing to do with the actual campaign. Some of those were great for pulling things out of.
The Adventure Path adventures?
The adventure paths.
I don't remember those.
Yes. So you'd have the adventure path itself.
Yeah.
So that would be like Shadow in the Sky, which was the one about the Dark Elves coming back to the world at the port city. You'd have the first adventure, which was all about running a casino. And then there was a small section about one of the rogues in the city that you hear mentioned about, but isn't part of the story, and what's in their place and what their secondary plot is, and that they're trying to put together a crew to get a boat to go out to sea. And all. It was a little 4-page adventure, but you could put it anywhere. But I've done that with I'll go through adventures, scenes, encounters. Sometimes I'll just find Vault of the Drow. There's, these 5 rooms made an interesting encounter. I'm just going to pull those out and put them aside somewhere. But let's have those sitting in the back of my mind, that if I have to just in time, I can come in and go, okay, I've got this already set aside. Go through those pages, write down a couple of notes while everybody's hitting the bathroom before the game starts, and that's I'm ready to go. But use those commercial adventures, and also when I'm running a commercial adventure itself, I will read through it real quickly and just make notes on how, my players aren't going to do this. I'm just going to scratch that out and put something else in there. Or I expect that, so-and-so has a winged kitten. Well, Bridget's going to try to get that as part of the party.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to make a note on there on how they're going to do that, so that when it gets there, because that can be its own little encounter on its own.
Oh, yeah.
Change the name, shift the location, do whatever, and you've got an adventure for the week. If you are somebody who collects lots of charts and tables and things like that, have them available. And if you need to do just in time, just roll some dice and see what comes up. Oftentimes that'll spur your brain along.
It's actually time-saving just-in-time adventure design right there.
Yeah.
If you have that broad collection of adventures that you have a pretty good knowledge of, just pull one out, pop it in there. Nice. For me, after the end of a session, I love getting feedback on what the characters want to do next. Phil does this all the time too, and you can do it right away if you want, or you can do it through whatever communication your group uses. I'm a stars and wishes person these days. I never thought I'd be, but I actually really like it a lot. The wishes part especially, because it lets me know what people are enjoying, what they want to see next.
You guys know this. I always ask at the end of a session, what do you guys want to do next? And I write it right on my index card so that when I go to my prep, like my notes for the next session, I actually just take the card and put it on the other window that I'm working from. Yep. And often I take them as headers and put them into my prep because it's like, you guys all said you wanted to do this. Boom, boom, boom. And now I'm going to make sure I specifically prepped each one of those things.
So my question to you is, and I have my own thoughts about this too, is should this be a session or a story? Because you kind of know where you're going in a story because the conflict is obvious. But I feel like it doesn't hurt to ask, because some games, they're easier to see the past than others.
Yeah. So I actually do both. And the question's a little different.
They are.
In a session, I want to know what thing you want to do next to advance the story along. Like for Knights Black Agents, that's super wide open. Like it helps me if you tell me like, oh, we want to go follow this guy. Cool. I'm going to put some stuff in about that. Otherwise, I'm going to wing it during the game, but that's also fine. But if you just tell me in advance, I'll actually make sure I put a little prep around it. When I get to the end of a story, it's even more important to me. Like, what thing do you guys want? Like for Ox, what do you want to do next? You guys were like, oh, we're going to find Castellium. And I'm like, cool. I will get working on how to do that.
I think that as a player and as a GM, it's important to look at these after every session as a GM, because if the players tell you where they want to go, even if you're not to the end of the story yet, it helps you with your next session to put in some of the hooks and things that you need to do to drive them in the direction they want, or give them the resources. And as a player, tell your GM where you want to go, because it's going to do two things for you. Number one is it's going to give the GM some help on where to go, but it's also going to help you out because the GM will take whatever ideas you've got. A lot of times they'll find ways to make that happen, so that if you want something else to happen in the game, and I'm not talking about like, I want to be able to kill a monster. I'm saying something like, I'd like to be able to go to Castellium. I want to be able to learn more about my missing brother, whatever. They can start to lay the groundwork for that in the next session of the story and go from there.
To me, the interesting thing about this question is I will sometimes run sessions that end in the middle of like a dungeon. Then I know what they're doing next time we get together.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I still ask the question because I like to try to find out what they enjoyed and what they would like to see more of from the previous session, or what they might want that they didn't get in that previous session.
But even if I'm in a dungeon, right? Like, so let's say we're in the middle of a dungeon. You ask me like, hey, what are you looking for, like forward to in the next session? Like, I know, of course, we're going to be exploring rooms or whatever.
Yeah.
But I may say to you, like, it's imperative we get a place for a long rest.
Sure. Right. That's important.
Like I'm running a little ragged here. My main goal, like when we start playing next session, is like, we need to find a secure enough place for a long rest. And that may be the prompt for you to look through and be like, yeah, this is probably the best area that could probably happen in.
Or you could turn around and be like, well, you could always try to make your way back out of the dungeon and go back to town.
Sure.
It's that kind of game, right?
Sure. But maybe I don't want to get out of the dungeon, or it's got some weird environmental thing that getting out is going to be, hard to get back in or whatever. And
but yeah, at least I can tell them, you can make that choice as a game master, depending on what kind of game you're playing, right?
Yeah, there's definitely like little goals like that. Like it might be like, oh, you know what? If we get a break, I really want to identify these objects.
Because what if I'm playing Torchbearer? If I'm playing Torchbearer, very different. You need to make your way out. Or if I'm playing a game that is supposed to simulate, if I'm playing D&D and I want that to be the style of play, then I want to play, because, man, let me tell you, there's not really a great style of play associated with the Dungeons and Dragons rule set. It's so broad that you can do. You can work at it to play a variety of styles of play. I mean, fighting is there for sure, exploration is there for sure, but man, in those mid levels, those lower mid levels, like you can stick somebody in a dungeon, let them make some difficult choices about being stuck in that dungeon. Like if they're deep underground, like there's some interesting things you can do there.
Yeah. It's also important though, because you can also tell the GM. It doesn't have to be something specific. It could be something like, hey, my character wants to learn more about that ancient language that we've got, but I know we have to trade something for it. So I'm going to be looking for something in the dungeon that I can trade when I get back to town for the adventure. Because if you suddenly just magically find a book of translation, that sounds kind of odd.
Sure.
But if you tell the GM, I'm looking for something I can trade later on, then the GM might find something that will lead you to the hook that what you need later on. The other reason why it's good to tell the GM at the end of every session what you enjoyed, not only is it a good boost for the GM, who sometimes feels like this didn't go well and everybody actually had a good time with it, but also if you tell the GM what you enjoyed doing, they'll do that again. Maybe not the exact same way, but you'll get more of the things that make you happy. So it's good to tell them that, because even if it's not giving the GM like, this is what I want to do next, if you said, I really enjoyed doing X, then the GM for the next session, when they're trying to plan their just in time, you know what? 2 sessions from now, I'm going to do something like that with a twist because they enjoyed it this time. I'm going to do it a little differently, but do something like that. And it makes it easier for them to come up with an idea of how to take the ideas they've got and make it something that the players will work with.
90% the same and 10% different equals popularity.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
And I very much, if a player tells me something like, oh, I really want to get something so that when we get back to town, I can work on translation, then I'm like, sure, no problem. I guarantee you in the next like 4 rooms, something's going to be there. If it wasn't before, it will be soon. Just because the player's taking that initiative, like, oh, I want to search for that. Oh, I'm going to help you find it. And if it's super rare, like if it's like something really obscure, I'm going to help you find it. There'll be some strings attached.
It doesn't have to be easy.
Like it's cursed.
I had a GM that was running a game that, well, it wasn't a great game itself. My character was an archaeologist, and I told him I just was looking for artifacts, ancient pottery, whatever. Made it easy for the GM. Every time we went into a dungeon, we found something unusual that was just a little different that my character wanted.
Sure.
Now I had a reason to explore, grab this, whatever, and draw the rest of the party. So next on. Go ahead.
So at the end of the arc, you got to ask the players what kind of arc they want to do. It's just another scaled level up from what we've been talking about this
very
entire
fractal
time. Yeah, it's very fractal. And then you can collaborate with them on what they're up to. I've just done that. Like, you guys going to go to space? You guys going to deal with something else? Deal with the dragon situation. They're like, we're going to space. I'm like, all right, that's good. That's what I assumed they were going to do.
My campaign hasn't gotten to the space part yet. Yeah. Our captain's got some issues.
Yes. So then you revise your ideas based on what was discovered during play. It's a great way to do it. And then you can update your arc and session ideas and any potential elements that may have come up during play. This is just lets you have ideas that you can constantly revise until you get to the point where you actually need to use them. Yeah,
there's this tipping point where at some point, and I made this point earlier, where you then have to commit to locking a thing into place. Yeah. I held off on that Castilium thing for like the longest time. And then I was like, well, this is the session where that's going to get figured out by the players. I'm now locking it into place. Now what's in Castilium? I still don't have a complete idea yet. I got some rough ideas, but we'll see.
And Jerry, tell us about ending the campaign.
First of all, just a lot of this is going to sound like the episode from a few weeks ago, so we're going to keep it very short. When you feel like the campaign's getting close to an ending, talk to the players about the last arc and what they want to do in it. Make sure that the players are driving the shape of that last arc, and then take all the information that you've gained through the campaign, build out stories that are going to wrap up subplots, as well as get the main plot to a satisfying end. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, we got a whole
episode about that.
Ending campaigns. We did
a nice job on that one.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
All right. So by way of wrap up, this just-in-time thing, the good chance you're actually doing it, you just didn't know it had a name. It didn't. I just made up a name for it. It's fine. Now we all have a name for it.
We like to name things.
Yeah, we like naming things.
We do this all the time.
Yeah, this is kind of our bullshit.
We've been doing it for 10 years.
Yes. Wow, fuck. That's a long time. Anyway, the idea behind it is by not defining things heavily up front, you give yourself a lot of room to absorb what's going on in the game and actually deliver things not only at the last minute, but deliver them so that they're really tailored to the expectations of the players, the campaign, and everything else. I find it, and I think you guys will agree, I find it to be a very satisfying way to run a campaign. Players enjoy it. I know I enjoy it. You know, since I've really leaned into it, like it really pays off for me when I run games.
All right, let's go to the conversation corner.
Let's do that. Yeah, my one thing for this week, I don't normally, prior to Thanksgiving, partake of any kind of Christmassy type things. I tend to avoid that kind of stuff. Get me past Thanksgiving. Christmassy stuff starts like December 1st. I usually don't get into it until like closer to Christmas. But
I already ate a Christmas cookie.
Yeah.
Or 5.
I normally hit Christmas.
I don't blame you.
I normally hit Christmas about December 20th. So go for it.
That's usually where I am.
Not me, baby.
But there was an advertisement for a Christmas movie on Apple TV, which starred Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, called Spirited. And it was another take on the Christmas Carol thing. And I thought, oh, okay. I'm like, it's a Christmas Carol. It's Scrooged. It's, all of those. But this one's got Ryan Reynolds. Will Ferrell is one of those guys that sometimes I really enjoy his work in a movie. And sometimes I'm like, too much Will, too goofy, lay off. I will never watch Step Brothers ever. That being said, I went into this thinking, okay, it is a Christmas Carol. What I did not know, because I had not seen all of the trailers for it, it's a musical. Let me say that again. It's a musical.
Love it. That means Bob watched a musical.
Now, I am not opposed to musicals. I have enjoyed many musicals. I just wasn't expecting it to be a musical. Once I was like, oh, okay. Will Ferrell, not the greatest singer in the world, but with his character, it comes off. The thing that really struck me about this film is it's not just another rehash of A Christmas Carol. It's not just, here's the 3 ghosts coming at you live, and we're going to spook you into changing your person and being a better person and all that. Blah, blah, blah. They added another layer to it, and then it didn't end the way I expected it to end. There are parts of it that are very, very predictable, but they did an interesting thing with it that I found to be very cool.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed it. If you have Apple TV, I recommend it. I found it to be very entertaining. Again, if you're a Ryan Reynolds fan at all, Ryan Reynolds in his purest form. I mean, you can tell he's enjoying himself.
Does it have Lee Majors with a minigun?
It does not have Lee Majors with a minigun. However, there are other things in it that...
it sounds really good, actually.
I mean, let's put it this way. No, I'm not going to spoil anything. There are things about this movie. It's entertaining. So that's my thing. Spirited, Apple TV, Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell. Fun.
Jerry, tell us.
My one thing is Slumberland. This is a modern retelling of the Little Nemo and Slumberland story, which has been done in cartoons and originally was a comic strip from the 30s. In the comic book strip, it's a little boy who falls asleep. Every time he falls asleep, he has adventures in Slumberland. This is about a girl named Nemo who she and her dad run a lighthouse, and her dad tells her stories every day about the adventures of this outlaw named Flip and how they would run around causing trouble and all that, and the outlaw code and everything. And then one day he goes out and drowns at sea.
Ooh.
What? Spoiler.
And she sees it in her dreams where he's basically eaten alive by a squid made of smoke.
Ooh.
I mean, as you do.
Yeah. So she ends up going to live with her uncle, played by Chris O'Dowd from the IT Crowd. He's her uncle, and he's very quiet and very straight-laced and doing his best to raise his niece, and she wants no part of it. But every night when she goes to sleep, she ends up back in Slumberland, where she now is convinced that she can find a way to save her father and see him. And she ends up teaming up with her father's old outlaw sidekick, Flip, played by Jason Momoa, as basically a giant forest troll.
Love it.
And Flip has to follow the outlaw code, and the two of them end up, every time she goes to sleep, getting in adventures, and it's the stories her father told her that help her to connect with Flip every time she goes into the Summerland. And Flip has stolen a map of all of the holes that let you jump into other people's dreams.
Oh.
And the problem is, if you die in your own dream, you're fine. If you die in somebody else's dream, you're dead.
Seems like a problem.
In addition, the Dream Authority Code is chasing after both of them, trying to catch them a la Loki. And
Of course, you have to have Dream Police.
so Dream Police, exactly.
Dream Police.
They live inside of your head. I will sing that entire
Everybody
song.
there went fast.
So anyway, they find a way to go through it, and there's a lot of little cheap tricks that they pull off.
Oh, ba-dum-bum.
And they
That's
but
good. That's
Anyway,
good.
it's worth seeing. It's fun. It's a family level film. There's not going to be a lot of super high tension. There are some really funny jokes. Jason Momoa basically just having a ball, playing exactly what you expect him to play as a giant forest troll. The girl playing Nemo does a great job. And it resolves in a way that's a little different. And Chris O'Dowd is just amazing because he has to play a very straight-laced, quiet character in this, unlike most of the comedic roles that he's done. And they build the characters up. It's got a lot of good world building. So I would recommend it. It's fun. It's only like an hour and a half long. It's a neat little show, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it was. Chris.
I'm going to talk about one thing from my Las Vegas trip.
Yeah.
So on Friday night, we went down to Fremont Street, which is old Las Vegas, where the old Vegas Strip is.
Mm-hmm.
And over there is a pizza shop called Evil Pie.
Oh, I know this place. I've seen it on
Evil
TikTok.
Pie.
Tell me more.
I will tell you
Yes.
more. They serve all kinds of weird pies, and there's like a little hole in the wall bar with that serves pizza, and like you can get like a 420 pizza, or like they have like a bunch of weirdly named, like you would see on beer type pizzas. But they have a pizza there called the Reaper. And this Reaper is described as a 5-alarm spicy pie that is made with habanero chili sauce, chili pepper infused mozzarella, sriracha marinated chorizo sausage, and sliced jalapeno peppers. There's like another thing on there, but I can't remember what it is.
No.
Me and my brother were like, my brother was like, we got to go do this thing. We got to go have a slice of this pizza. And we're like, I'm like, fine, I'll go eat it. It'll be hot, whatever. We're from Buffalo. It's fine.
Oh, no.
Narrator voice. It was hot.
It's going to get better. We go there. We find out that they don't just make a pie that you can buy slices of this from.
You got to buy
have
the
to buy
pie.
the whole thing. It's a 20-inch pizza. It's worth $50. It has all those things on it. And then there's an eating competition that goes along with it.
Oh, now I know. I've met your brother only a handful of times, but I feel like this is a recipe for disaster.
You have to eat 3 slices of this pizza in
Yes.
10 minutes.
Yes.
If you do, you get your name on social media and your picture on social media. You get a t-shirt that says, I survived the Reaper. So they told us this, and me and my brother look at each other. Are we going to do this? He's like, I don't know. Should we do this? I'm like, yeah, we'll do this. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So then we ordered this pizza. We sat down. They announced it to the whole bar, which there was like, 50 people in there. So we had about 25 to 30 people cheering us on / heckling us as we tried to eat 3 slices of this pizza each in less than 10 minutes. And we both succeeded.
Oh, congratulations.
Ooh, I was going to
Was
say
it
narrator
hot?
voice. They did not get a t-shirt.
You know what? It wasn't as hot as I thought it was. I mean, I was sweating. My brother was not. My brother was like a machine.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he finished it in like 8 minutes. It took me like 9 minutes and 30 seconds to finish the third slice. And the worst part was it wasn't, we couldn't dip it in water, so we couldn't do that. You just had to eat it. I was pouring sweat at one point in time, but it didn't, like, my mouth was fine. Like, it didn't hurt. The worst part was that it was like a doughy, crispy slice of pizza, so it tore up the top of my mouth trying to eat it. Like it took like 3 days for my mouth to heal. But we had a good time with it, and
That's the important part. You had a good time.
I felt awful after I was done eating that.
Yes.
I felt awful. If I took one bite of that pizza, my colon would literally explode. I mean, it would explode.
You know what the worst part about it was? Is that the
6
pizza
hours
was
later?
No, well, that was the second worst part about it, and it was like 8 hours later.
Yeah.
The worst part about it was that the pizza was actually delicious. I would have liked to have just sat and ate it.
Yes.
Just sit and enjoy it
instead of inflicting
rushing,
it on yourself.
Yeah, and it was hilarious because my brother-in-law was there too with us, and he was like, I'll take a bite. We took like 3 bites. I was like, nope, I'm done.
Nope, I'm done.
Like Kramer with the contest. I'm out.
Yeah, everybody else, like my sister, my sister-in-law, my mom, were all there, and they all tried some of it. And they had like between the 5 of them, they ate a piece.
The same reaction. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm good for high-end heat. Like, I like a good hot wing and stuff like that. But like when you get into like Ghost Pepper, Reaper, and things like that, I'm like,
So
I'm okay.
The heat index on a habanero is only 350,000.
No,
which is a
habanero's
lot.
okay. It's like when you get
not-
like Scotch bonnet and Ghost
Yeah,
Pepper.
that's too much for me.
See, my problem is I like the heat. Like I like Frank's and that kind of stuff, but I don't want it so hot that I can't taste what else is going on. And I also don't like the flavor of some peppers.
Sure.
And so,
That's fair.
so I like hot stuff. It's very particular hot stuff. Like when cold weather hits, I will take a shot of hot sauce every morning. I'll just drink it like it's water.
Yeah, man. Jen loves habanero. No, Jen loves Tabasco or hot sauce, but she doesn't like habanero at all.
Yeah.
So she was like, she took a bite of it and she's like, it just doesn't taste good to me.
Mhm.
She could have done that too if she wanted to.
Sure.
Because she can deal with heat better than I can.
Yeah.
But apparently we have a t-shirt, social media shout outs, and our name was carved into the wall of legends.
Nice.
So it's funny you mention it because I was like TikToking and like there was just a thing that came up with that challenge on my TikTok. And I'm like, oh yeah, I watched it, like, liked it or whatever. And then as soon as you mentioned, I'm like, oh, I just saw this thing.
They set that pizza on fire too. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Like they bake the top cheese layer by setting it on fire. We have to blow it out and then they hit the timer and we go.
That's fun.
It was a good time. Okay. That's all I have to say about that. Phil.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving's approaching. And now that I've gotten into cooking, my mom was like, what do you bring into Thanksgiving? I was like, cool, I'll make the cranberry sauce because I like not canned cranberry sauce. So I'm like, I'll make that. But I remember from like last time I made it, I made a shit ton of it because you only buy cranberries like in certain size bags. And I was like, fuck, what am I going to do with the rest of these cranberries? You don't need this. Nobody needs this much cranberry sauce, right? So this year I was like, wait, I know how to make muffins now. I'm like, I will make the cranberry sauce and I will make cranberry orange muffins. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to do that. I pledged to do that. So then my father sent me a gift just randomly. He sent me one of those Bluetooth wireless temperature probes that you put into meat. It's called a thermal spike.
Yeah.
So you just put it in and on your phone, you're like, cook this guy to 161 and it like beeps your phone and it's like, it's time to take the roast out of the oven kind of thing. Now, I take pride in my turkey.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, I can't just show up with an untested probe, and just put it in the bird and good luck.
Probes must be tested.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to make a pork roast this weekend.
That was awkward.
So I'm like, I'm going to make a pork roast. And then because I'm cycling my own bullshit here. I'm like, what am I going to eat with this pork roast? I'm like, you know what? I can make popovers, which are these like savory, like muffin things. And I'm like, I'll make popovers. Well, then I should make pork gravy. I'll make a pork roast. I'll make the cranberry sauce. I'll make muffins. And then we were going to have a game. And I like to make stuff for you guys when we have a game. So I'm like, wait, I still have 8 frozen snickerdoodle. I'll just whip those up on Sunday. I can quickly just roll them in some cinnamon sugar.
Because I've got time for all of this.
Dude, I had to make a plan from Friday night through Sunday, which is why when the game got canceled because Chris's travel ban, you were like, hey, do you want to do something? I'm like, nah, I'm fucking spent.
Yep.
So I have all of that I'm bringing. I'm bringing the cranberry sauce and the muffins, but I also had made bread like a week or two ago and froze it. So I'm bringing homemade bread because the Wednesday night we're having like an Italian dinner before Thanksgiving. So I was like,
There you
I will
go.
bring the bread.
Phil had his own British bake-off in his house.
I was hauling ass. Let me tell you, the muffins came out good. I'm bringing 11 muffins because I ate one muffin.
Of course you did.
Plus, I ate a bunch of the batter. They didn't have cranberries in the batter, but it had the orange zest, and I was like, "Oh, this is fucking good."
All right.
Anyway, that was my it was cool, and I'm actually preparing to do it for you guys for the Christmas party.
Let us do some Patreon shout-outs as we are running out of time.
We gotta hustle, man.
Oh, yeah, we got to burn. So thank you super much to JT Evans, Jared Rasher, Jen Pixelscapes Gagney, Jim Fitzpatrick, Joseph Peralta, Kathleen Halperin, Michael Draper, my Brett, not really mine, but somebody's, Ninjabi, and the Rainmaker. And thanks to everyone for listening.
If you enjoy this podcast, you can get more content like this at misdirectedmark.com, where we have over 1,300 podcast episodes
All of the
on
episodes.
various shows. And if that isn't enough, hit our Patreon stuff, because we got hundreds of bonus episodes all hanging out on patreon.com/MMP.
Now, those 1,300 plus episodes include some of the other shows in the Misdirected Mark Network, such as They're a Super Geek, Bonestone and Obsidian, Pandas Talking Games, The Gnomecast, Bonus Experience, and the all-new Thaco with Advantage. Also, you can catch the back episodes of the amazing She's a Super Geek. If that still isn't enough for you, I suggest checking out our sibling podcasts, Tabletop Bellhop, The Knights of the Night, GM Mastermind, and Mastery Dungeons.
Then leave us some feedback. Reliably, right now, hit us up on the old-fashioned emails at mmp@misdirectedmark.com. Venture out onto Twitter at your own safety out there. The show and the network is at Misdirected Mark, and currently we are all still there. Robert M. Everson,
Yep.
GM Gerrymander,
Hey,
The Light 101, and I'm DNA Phil.
And if you want to talk to us directly, really get your feedback put in there, just join the Patreon, because the Slack channel. The
Yeah,
Slack channel is the
Slack
best way
channel's
to
the
get hold of
best.
us.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's like a direct line.
Awesome.
Hey, Bob, remember that patron I just mentioned?
Yeah, the Patreon that you just mentioned with the hundreds of bonus episodes. If you want to support us and the other shows from Misdirected Mark Productions, you can do that at patreon.com/MMP. It gets you access to the after show podcast, the show notes, the Bamboo Lounge, the Slack channel where you can really come in and talk to us. And sometimes we do some special stuff.
Well, this has been a Misdirected Mark production, which is the media arm of Encoded Designs. Mic drop.
We out. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your break, everybody.
Merry
We love
Christmas,
you
happy
all.
holidays, whatever.
Yay.
Bye-bye.